Stop looking like the sad dog face. I get it. I broke the pull start and I broke the starter all in the same couple of days. I'm working on it, okay? So here's the thing. This thing was in under the eaves and water came down, and we're pretty sure that it got pushed in through the exhaust because on these Ducar, Duromax, whatever style exhausts, this doesn't have an overhang. And so this can easily get filled with water when you've got sideways rain. The whole thing was filled with water. Dad hooked up a battery to start it. He was in a hurry, got belligerent, and made the white smoke come out. And it hasn't done anything since. And then Dad had it out in the woods, pull starting it, had a stupid moment and ripped the whole pull starter out, and we had to swap that. This engine's going on a different project. We're going to send it over to RCG Racing in order to do a bunch of carburetor testing, swap, myth, and whatever type stuff, because I want the electric start so that I don't rip my arm off while I'm testing as many weird whatever carburetors as we can on this thing. And then we're building John another engine that revs to like $7,000 in order to put on this thing, because why the hell not? We haven't broken it much, so let's break it. But the first thing we got to do is deal with this. When you're dealing with these starters, you got to figure out the block you're dealing with, kind of. This is a Ducar block. Down in underneath here, you'll see a tag that says DH208. It means it's a Ducar block that you're working with. It's actually a 212cc. I'm not sure where the 208 came from. Maybe I missed something in the calculations. But this is the starter that should go on it. This is an HZ starter off of Amazon. I actually prefer to buy the Yamato. I will post a link for both of these starters down below. One is $5 more, and I find that they're better quality. But pick your poison. Save yourself $5 and hope, or buy the one that I really should have bought in the first place, but they were out of stock at the time. Anyways, the real only conversion problem that I've ever noticed with any of these is this right here. Some of these have a push-on plug, and others have this little pigtail plug that goes into the harness. The Duromax uses one of these harnesses. If yours uses the little push-on spade bit, and you're too stupid to cut a wire and solder it together or something, not my problem. While we're here, we're going to quickly show you how to jumpstart one of these in the field if you have to. You take the black and you clamp it off to anything on the block. You can clamp it to the back of there, you can clamp it up there. You take this and you put it sideways onto this 10mm lug right here, making sure not to touch the body of the solenoid. Yep, clamp it right on there. And if Dad had not have messed it up, it would start. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Maybe we'll tear it apart and we'll find out what white smoked later. I know I'm going to get the all you have to do is comment. So I pulled back that sheathing, and we're going to latch the positive on here, making sure that it doesn't hit the other lug. And then we're going to bop this onto a ground on the engine and see if it turns over. No. Nothing happened. It is uber fried. Hey, John.
Yes?
I think your current choice of extension is overcompensating. Do we need to have a talk about birds and bees and all that other kind of stuff already? Gee whiz, man. Why did you choose a 2-foot extension? You're overcompensating. Man, no wonder you got big giant mud tires on your little go-kart for around the yard. You're like those mall crawler guys with your extension. Congratulations, you pulled a side cover off. Now you think you're going to be able to get to the 2 bolts in order to pop the starter off. No, that's not the case. See, One of these bolts is underneath this piece, and that piece is underneath this flywheel. And that flywheel is impeding with that coil. So coil, flywheel, piece of metal, then you can get to the 2 starter bolts. Not gonna lie, when I saw these 3/8 lug sockets that came with the Seesii, I was like, we're never gonna use those for anything, except for that one happens to be exactly the right size for the flywheel. Yeah, the hog ring that's on that Seesii is no joke. Slam it. Just bop it right on there.
I'm trying!
What are you doing?
This is hard.
No, it is not.
This is overly hard.
There it goes. All right, now, pop that off. Let's see if the Seesii will do it. Oh, yeah. No joke. Cool. All right, now, I'm not going to lie. We're going to do the bop it with a hammer thing. So we're going to pop this off. We're going to pop this fan off. We're going to take this and we're going to thread it on so that it's got just a little bit on the inside. And then I'm going to put a pry bar right there. And we're going to smack that and pop it off. Off-handed. Done. Now, John, did you take a picture memory of what order it goes back together in?
Yeah.
Main computers offline.
John's got the 2 bolts out, making sure to leave this put together so it just slides back on. The starter assembly goes that way, and it's got 2 dowels that sometimes, like so, whoops, we just lost one. It's got 2 dowels that go right there, and sometimes they rust into place and can need a good bapping. But this thing's screwed anyway, so if you got to give it a wallop on its tail end, so be it. After John and I both decided to drop our ego and review our footage from before, after 3 or 4 tries, we figured out that just plain doesn't line up in the direction that the wire goes. I'm not sure why it's bent this way, but the wire comes across here into this little crevice, down through this little lip here, and out this hole. That was a pain, because this wants to rotate in away from this hole, and this doesn't want to stay here. And so I'm sorry it's not in video, but that's the purgatory you need to create to move on. Remember to save your Chinese warranty card for the one thing it's actually good for, spacing the coil back out. There we go. Good clearance. Now, just for the sake of it, I think we'll bop the starter just to show you guys what it does. It's a bit of a twit to put on film, but basically what I gotta do is put the red here and then take the wire that is wrapping around here from the front and touch it to that red in order to kick the solenoid. So John's gonna come around to see the teeth in the front, and I'm gonna try and do this. Ready?
Yep.
Can you see them? Alright, cool. We know we have engagement. We can wire it back up. I'm not sure what's up with the face. Do you need a nap? Is trying to keep up with the old man tiring?
Hold out.
Alright, so John's got the throttle over here just in case we need to bop it once or twice. I'm gonna hit the choke. And let's see. Bop it once or twice. Yep. Cool. Alright. Let's see if John got the kill wire in the right spot. Hey. Cool. John got the kill wire in the right spot. Well, actually, I just realized I did the kill wire. But anyways... John did all the other wires. Alright, we did have one little side note here, speaking of wiring while we're here. One thing that we did notice is that with this unit, Duromax uses a blue wire as far as the starter exciter wire is concerned, This uses a black and white wire, which I've actually seen on several others, so it's good to note that. Otherwise than that, we are all set. This engine is coming off because we are building another engine to hop onto this. We've got a racing connecting rod. We've got flathead pistons. We've got a Predator that's been abused for probably like 8 years and deserves to be allowed to die, but we're going to try to revive it in order to make a 7,000 RPM Chinesium monster out of it. And we'll be back with this project. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm still curious what went wrong with this thing. So I popped the housing off. We've got the gear here. You can see the gear is moving fine. And there's no teeth chewed off or anything. So if we set this aside right into there, and of course drop it right into all the shavings. Now if we hit the override, we should be able to punch the positive into there and see that spin up. So let's see if we can tap this while we're right here on... Yeah, nothing. I must have eaten the... Yeah, I must have eaten the brushes on the inside or something. Because that moves by finger. But as you saw, not a thing happened. So the brushes are gone inside. But that means that solenoid I can probably pop onto another rig. So what's interesting is all of these solenoids basically are the same as far as GX200, the 300, the 420, and the 390, and the 440. With the exception being that on 390s and 440s, they usually just have a slide-on tab for the exciter wire, this green one. But you can just cut it and add a little tab and go from there. Alright, so this one's done for.